Marcus wiped his calloused hands on his worn uniform for the 100th time that morning, his eyes darting between the clock on the office wall and the empty hallway beyond. 6:47 a.m. His daughter Emma would wake up soon in their cramped studio apartment 3 floors above the office building where he worked as night janitor, and the babysitter he desperately arranged had just cancelled via text. Again, his chest tightened as he imagined 5-year-old Emma calling out for him, finding only silence in return. The weight of being both mother and father to his little girl pressed down on his shoulders like the industrial vacuum he pushed through these halls every night, relentless and exhausting. The echo of heels on linoleum broke through his spiraling thoughts. Marcus straightened, expecting to see Mrs. Henderson, the building manager who'd promised to help him find reliable childcare. Instead, a woman appeared in the doorway, her professional blazer slightly wrinkled, dark circles under her eyes that matched his own. But it was what she carried that made him do a double take. A portable crib slung over her shoulder like a designer purse, its folded legs catching the fluorescent light. "Excuse me," she said, her voice carrying a slight tremor of exhaustion. "I'm looking for the custodial office. I'm Sarah Chen, the new tenant in 4B. I was told someone here might know about emergency childcare options." Marcus blinked, taking in the sight before him. This woman, clearly a professional, was in the same impossible situation he found himself in every day. "You're looking at the someone," he said with a rueful smile, "though I'm probably the last person who should be giving childcare advice. I'm Marcus Williams, and I'm currently failing at finding someone to watch my 5-year-old." Sarah's shoulders sagged with relief at finding someone who understood. "Single parent, 2 years now." Marcus nodded. "You?" 3 months. "New job, new city, and my babysitter just informed me she's moving back to Portland today." Sarah shifted the crib to her other shoulder. "I have a presentation to the board in 2 hours that could make or break my career, and my 18-month-old son David is currently asleep in my car in the parking garage." The absurdity of their situation hit them both simultaneously, and despite everything, they shared a laugh that echoed off the empty walls. It was the kind of laughter that bordered on hysteria, the release valve of overwhelmed parents everywhere. "Wait," Marcus said, an idea forming. "What if we help each other? I know this sounds crazy, but I finish my shift at 7:30. And Emma's great with little kids. What if I watch David during your presentation, and maybe you could help me out sometime when I'm in a bind?" Sarah studied his face, looking for any sign of the predatory behavior every parent feared when trusting a stranger with their child. What she saw instead was genuine desperation mixed with kindness, the same look she caught in her bathroom mirror every morning. Still, caution warred with necessity. "I don't even know you," she said quietly. "You're right to be careful," Marcus replied, understanding completely. "Look, Mrs. Henderson in the management office has known me for 2 years. She can vouch for me, and we could exchange references, emergency contacts, whatever you need. I just know what it's like to feel like you're drowning, and it seems like we both are." 20 minutes later, after a flurry of phone calls and hastily exchanged information, Sarah found herself in Marcus's small apartment, watching him gently wake his daughter Emma. The little girl rubbed her eyes and smiled at the stranger with the openness only children possessed. "Emma, this is Miss Sarah, and she has a little boy named David who needs someone to play with today," Marcus explained, kneeling to his daughter's level. "Think you can help Daddy be the best babysitter ever?" Emma nodded enthusiastically, and when Sarah brought David up from the car, the toddler immediately gravitated toward Emma's gentle manner and collection of well-loved stuffed animals. Sarah felt her chest tighten watching her son laugh for the first time in days. "Are you sure about this?" Sarah asked Marcus as she prepared to leave. "I mean, you don't even know me, and David can be a handful when he's cranky. Marcus looked at David, who was contentedly stacking blocks with Emma, then at Sarah's face, a hope and worry warring in her expression. My grandmother used to say that sometimes angels show up carrying exactly what you need, he said softly. Today, maybe we're angels for each other. Sarah's presentation went flawlessly. For the first time in months, she wasn't distracted by worry about her son or guilt about inadequate childcare. She spoke with confidence about quarterly projections and market expansion, her mind clear and focused. When she returned to Marcus's apartment 3 hours later, she found both children napping peacefully on a makeshift fort of couch cushions and blankets. Marcus was quietly folding laundry nearby, moving with the practiced efficiency of a parent who'd learned to accomplish tasks in the spaces between a child's needs. "How did it go?" he whispered. "I think I just saved my job," Sarah whispered back, tears of relief gathering in her eyes. "Marcus, I can't thank you enough. David hasn't been this relaxed since we moved here." Over the following weeks, what began as an emergency arrangement evolved into something neither had expected: a friendship built on mutual respect and shared understanding. Sarah would drop David off before early meetings, and Marcus would bring Emma to Sarah's apartment when his evening shifts ran late. They traded parenting tips, shared grocery store runs, and discovered that their children had become inseparable. The turning point came on a particularly difficult evening when Emma came down with a fever and Marcus couldn't afford to miss work. His building contract was up for renewal, and he couldn't risk appearing unreliable. Sarah didn't hesitate to call in sick to her own job, spending the night alternating cool compresses on Emma's forehead while keeping David entertained and quiet. "Why are you doing this?" Marcus asked when he returned home at dawn to find Sarah asleep in his chair, both children curled up on the couch nearby. "I mean, really doing this? You have your own life, your own problems." Sarah stirred awake, looking at Emma's peaceful face and David's sleeping form curled against his newfound big sister. "Because 3 months ago, I was drowning," she said simply. "I was new to this city, new to single parenting, new to a job that demanded everything I had to give. I felt invisible, like no one saw how hard I was struggling. But you saw me that morning, Marcus. You saw someone who needed help, and instead of turning away, you figured out how to help us both." She paused, watching Emma's steady breathing. "My parents always taught me that family isn't just about blood, it's about who shows up when you need them most. You showed up for me, so I'm showing up for you." Marcus felt something shift in his chest, a loosening of the tight knot of isolation he'd carried since his wife's death. For 2 years, he'd believed he had to carry everything alone, that asking for help was a sign of failure as a father. But looking at this makeshift family they'd created, he realized that sometimes strength wasn't about bearing burdens alone, it was about being brave enough to let others help carry them. As the weeks turned to months, their arrangement became a lifeline for both families. Sarah's career flourished with reliable childcare, and she was eventually promoted to regional director. Marcus completed his classes, as something he'd dreamed of doing for years but never had the support system to make possible. Emma thrived having a little brother to look after, and David blossomed under the attention of his chosen big sister. The morning that would have broken them both to a single father facing another childcare crisis, a single mother drowning in impossible demands, it had instead become the beginning of something beautiful. They discovered that sometimes the family you need isn't the one you were born into or married into, but the one that forms when two people decide to stop struggling alone and start struggling together. In a world that often felt cold and disconnected, Marcus and Sarah had found something rare and precious, proof that kindness creates its own gravity, pulling people into each other's orbits and creating new constellations of care. Their story became a reminder that help often arrives in unexpected packages, and that sometimes the person you're meant to save is actually the one who ends up saving you.